Facing your fears is probably the easiest and most simple way for you to become successful. Because let's think about it together. Whenever you face a fear, do you ever lose something? Do you ever feel like you don't make progress? No, you don't feel like that. You feel like you've achieved something because you have. You feel liberated, you feel fulfilled. These are all positive emotions, which, if you know about the behaviorist approach to psychology, we learn through association. We learn by associating certain things with another. So, if you start associating your fears with something liberating and positive, what are you going to want to do? You're going to want to face your fear again and again and again. Whenever you face a fear, what also happens? Do you ever lose something? Do you ever feel like you shouldn't have done it? No. You actually gain something. You make progress. And if you want to do it again and again and again, you're going to make more progress. So let's use an example here so I can get it internalized in your head a little bit more. Let's say you want to start a YouTube channel, something like I'm doing currently, right? What's the first fear that you might face? The first fear probably for me was maybe, getting the confidence to post the first video or, something like that, right? That's the first fear. But then you face that first fear by just going ahead, putting your foot out the door and uploading. Then you start building confidence by posting again and again and again and again. But eventually what will happen? You'll hit a wall. That wall might be you start running out of video ideas or you start, not being consistent. That's a fear. And how do you face that fear? Well, you remedy it by, spending more time thinking of videos than recording them. So you face that fear and then you start making more progress and more progress and more progress, and that cycle repeats, right? You then hit another wall, you face it, you make progress. But what is bound to happen at the end of that? You're bound to be successful if you just continue to face your fears, no matter how long it's going to take. You can't exactly have a gauge on how long it's going to take, but you for certain know that if you continue to face your fears and make progress from it, you're going to be successful. A lot of people feel scared about the journey that it's going to take towards success because by all means it's not going to be easy, right? Facing your fears is a hard thing to do. I'm not trying to make it out that it's the easiest thing to do, but by far it is the most simple routine for you to follow if you want to be successful, because there's no use to overcomplicating yourself by finding this easy method to be successful in less than 30 days, or being disciplined is also facing your fears is being disciplined as well. And it's probably the most simple thing you can follow if you want to be successful at the end of it, as long as you start associating it with something positive and continuing to do it. Think about a time where you could have faced a fear but you didn't. How did you feel afterwards? You probably felt so regretful. That feeling probably consumed you whole. And then, what does that do? That builds a standard for you the next time you face a fear. You're going to remember that feeling of regret. You're going to remember that feeling of, unworthiness that you felt afterwards. And that might lead to you wanting to face the fear the next time because you don't want to feel that feeling again. But it could also lead to you not choosing to go towards fears the next time you have the opportunity to do so. So, if you don't face that fear the first time, you may never even get the opportunity to face another one. So, it's so important for you to face new opportunities, because if you choose to not do it the first time, whenever that next opportunity may comes up, you won't even give yourself the chance to face it. You'll just shy away from it. You'll just go, no. That's not for me. I'll just stay on this side, I'm not even going to go 5 meters in the same direction of that thing. So this is why opportunities which are new to you are so important for your success journey, because that first time, that first impression, that first, foot or step that you take towards it builds this standard. And this is the same for everything else, not just new opportunities, for, new people you may meet, or, people you haven't spoken to before. First, like the first thing that you do, the first impression that you make is always going to be the most important thing. So it makes sense for you to emphasize it as much as possible, because you want to keep that standard for yourself. And by building the standard, what happens then? If you fall anywhere below it, you're going to feel empty. You're not going to feel like you're operating as the same person you were prior to that. So you're going to want to stick to it as much as possible. That's why things like consistency are so, so, so important, because without it, you really feel like you're not even operating normally. Like, you don't even feel like you're yourself anymore, because these things become a part of you. They become who you are as a person. So by facing your fears, you build a standard for yourself. You make it something you see as a guidepost rather than something as a hindrance to your life. And you start, living life a lot more. You start actually feeling like you're making something out of yourself instead of just walking, instead of just strolling. Some people just take days as they come, and then it hits them at one point, and that feeling of regret overwhelms them. I remember David Goggins, he said something along the lines of, like, he was running by a graveyard, and he looked in there and he just thought, imagine how many people in there just hated how they lived their life, hated every single thing which they didn't take up on as an opportunity. Don't let that be you. Make sure you're the guy who says yes to these things, who faces his fears instead of his desires, right? Chase fears instead of desires. That's something you should take away from this video. Don't be that guy who's 35, 40 in his rocking chair, sitting back just thinking, I wish I asked her out when I was in year 11, or, I wish I took that opportunity. I wish I went on that trip. I wish I spoke to more people. I wish I was, this. Don't be that guy. Be the guy who sits back and thinks about, yeah, I'm glad that I took this opportunity. I'm glad that I faced that fear. I'm glad that I did as much as I possibly can in the time that I had left. Because people aren't going to remember you forever, but they will remember you when you make a profound impact on their life and your own. Face fears, not desires.